All right, as we continue on, I want you to look at how Charybdis is described here and consider Odysseus's choices he is making. As I sent them on towards Scylla, I told them nothing, as they could do nothing. They would have dropped their oars in panic to roll for cover under the decking. And all this time we rowed into the strait, Scylla to the left, and on our right beam Charybdis, dire gorge of the salt sea tide. By heaven, when she vomited, all the sea was like a cauldron seething over intense fire, when the mixture suddenly heaves and rises. So look at how Charybdis is being described there. Details like vomiting and the sea being like a cauldron over an intense fire. So, that detail is helping us visualize the way that the seawater is almost boiling, right? It is spurting up violently, this heaving and rising. So, Charybdis is being described like a giant whirlpool. With that in mind, why do you think Odysseus would decide to sail towards Scylla rather than Charybdis? Well, think about what would happen to a ship caught in such a whirlpool. Probably the entire ship would sink and all of his men would die. So Odysseus makes the choice to go toward Scylla. He knows the danger that Scylla poses. Circe has warned him. Why doesn't he tell his men of that danger? Well, it tells us in lines 35 through 37 they couldn't do anything to avoid that danger, and he fears that if they knew, they would have panicked, and that would have made everything worse. Let's read forward. Our eyes were fixed upon that yawning mouth, in fear of being devoured. Then Scylla made her strike, whisking 6 of my best men from the ship. I happened to glance aft at ship and oarsmen, and caught sight of their arms and legs dangling high overhead. Voices came down to me in anguish, calling my name for the last time. She ate them as they shrieked there in the dire grapple, reaching still for me, and deathly pity ran me through at that sight. Far the worst I ever suffered, questioning the passes of the strange sea. We rode on. So here we see that Odysseus did not tell his men about the danger Scylla posed, yet he knew she was going to eat 6 of his men. Do you think he made the right choice? Why or why not? And how might this show a characteristic of an epic hero? Consider that as you're planning your constructed response. All right, let's have a quick check about MLA citations here. So looking at this passage from Odysseus's encounter with the sirens, which quotation is correctly formatted using MLA citation? Look carefully at all of these choices. Notice with me that the first one, we have the author's last name, Homer, and the line number. We have the period here inside the quotation mark. The next one, we have the author's last name given as a signal phrase, and we have the line number, and the period is after the citation. Here we have the quote, we have the author's last name, and we've got lines 77 through 78. I notice this quote is on more than one line. And again, the period is after the citation. And then finally, we have choice D, Homer writes, and we've got the quote, the line numbers, and the period here inside the quotation mark. So which of those is the correct way to format an MLA citation? If you said choice C, you're absolutely correct. We have our author's last name, the line numbers. We need both of those line numbers since this quote comes from 2 lines, and we need the quote to only be around what's from the passage, but the period after the citation. Think about it as your sentence is not complete until you have a citation, right? But this is a dreaded dropped quote. We don't want any dropped quotes. We don't just go boom and drop our evidence into our writing. So let's fix that. Here's how we could fix that dropped quote. Let me move my video over to the side. There we go. As he hears the siren song, Odysseus recalls, I tried to say, untie me to the crew, jerking my brows. Notice with me that this signal phrase provides context for what is happening. This is more beneficial than just saying Homer writes because we know that Homer wrote the Odyssey. It's not really that helpful to use that kind of a filler phrase. All right, so now you are ready to get to work. On our daily page, we have all the links you need for making the most of your asynchronous time today. I will be back tomorrow and we will have an extended work time so I can answer any questions you might have about this character analysis. For today, all I ask is that you try your best to get started with this assignment. Focus on deciding which characteristic of an epic hero you'll want to use in your response and try to find some evidence you can use in that response. Good luck and thank you in advance for soaring today.